is developing the muscle and the commitment that you're giving to yourself to invest in this. So how do you go about it? First of all, find yourself some time, be reflective, and really think about where you want to be in 2025. Where do you want to go in 2026? What is that path forward from what you know right now? You don't have to know everything, but from what you know right now, and then take the first step.
Welcome to Productside Stories, the podcast where we reveal the very real and raw lessons learned from product leaders and thinkers all over the world. I'm your host, Rina Alexin, CEO of Productside. Let's dive into today's episode.
Today, I am joined by the Chief Operating Officer of Productside, Cynthia Petti. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So, Cynthia, I love to ask product leaders why or how they got into the world of product management. For you, I'm just curious, why Productside?
Why Productside? Okay, let's see. So there's a lot of reasons why Productside. Ideally, any place that you're going to be working at, you're spending so much of your time there that you really want to be surrounded with people that are supportive, that have your back, right? So I can tell you how I returned back to Productside and why Productside. So back, I think it was 2015, maybe 2015, 20, maybe later. Forgive me my dates. So my partner at the time had cancer and I wasn't working at Productside, and I had previously been with Productside. And while he was going through some heavy treatment, navigating appointments, I knew that I wanted to be surrounded with people that were supportive. If I needed some time alone, they can give me time alone. If I needed some interaction with lunch or something, those were the people. And those people was Productside. So I left where I was previously at and returned and was supported during one of the most difficult times of my life.
So, Cynthia, the reason why I asked you to join me for this podcast episode is because we're going to be diving into the importance of professional development. And certainly, you said it really well just now. The people you work with, you spend so much time with them that they're the ones that help you grow, not just grow in the moment of dealing with something hard. I can't imagine what you went through with your partner. But, picking the right company means the people. It's very true.
Yeah, it is about the people.
So this week, we just launched the Certification Outcomes Report, an infographic based on a survey that we conducted this fall of certified product professionals. And the other reason why I wanted to talk to you was because since I've joined Productside, you have always pushed for more professional learning for yourself and for your team. And I know on the side, you've always had also a coach or a mentor or a personal board of directors that you've gone to. And that's really helped you grow as an individual, grow into this new role as a chief operating officer at Productside. And so I wanted to get your insights based on this report of, does certification matter? Where does professional learning or professional development fit in someone's career? Because we hear it all the time. And we saw it even in the survey where there were some people that saw a great deal of benefit from going through the certification process, the learning, the examination, putting it on the resume, seeing more callbacks. And yet we also saw some comments saying, I wish people valued this more. The recruiter didn't seem to ask me anything about my certification. Did it matter? So based on your experience, does certification matter?
So you asked me two things. You asked me if certification matters, and you asked me the importance of professional development. So the answer is yes, they both matter. I'm going to go ahead and start with professional development, and then I'm going to ease into certification. Professional development, let me just say, congratulations, you got your bachelor's degree. Some of you got your master's, some of you went on to your PhD. Congratulations, you've invested so much in your education. Does your education really stop after you get your diploma? And the answer is no. You will always have to be investing in yourself to learn, grow, challenge. That is ongoing. So you always have to spend time to learn. Is it reading books? Is it podcasts? Is it, to your point, having a mentor, having a coach? What is that for you? Everyone has it defined differently. So I would encourage everyone to define that for themselves. It's not just an investment of time, it's an investment of money. Do you value that? Do you value your own learning and your growth where you want to be in 5 years, 10 years? Okay. Does certification matter? Yes, it does. You're putting in all of this effort into learning and growing yourself. How many people have read books, right, on accounting, business management, soft skills? Great. You just read that or you took a class. How do you test for that? How do you validate that you absorbed that content and are applying it and have done let's say, a test, right? An exam that is proctored, right? Why is it important? You read something, you learn something, and here you are later in life or in your career, something that is stamping that you have met the standards to have this knowledge, this skill set that you can then later apply it, right? I've read many books. I've gone to many Tony Robbins events. They give you a certificate, right? They give you a paper certificate. That's great, but I can't post that on my LinkedIn, right? If these values and learning and professional development matter, that's going to be something that you can brag and post about. We put about where we went to school, where we graduated, executive learning programs. They have things listed. Did you understand it? It's important. Why? Because you put in the time, you put in the effort, you've invested, or someone saw the potential and the value to invest on your behalf for you to go.
Yeah, I like what you were saying because that's exactly how I think about it too. A lot of people focus too much sometimes on just the credential without understanding the work behind it. So what you outlined just now, it's about the learning, it's about the investment of time. Uh, Sitting through an actual examination that is proctored is very different from getting I would say, what is it? One of those certificates that I know a lot of learning providers do, they provide. It's more of a attendance record.
Yeah, it's a participation certificate. Congratulations. I can sit in this chair and have content thrown at me. Yeah. But if I don't apply it or I'm not testing my knowledge, I don't know.
Exactly. And then at the end of the day, what we were so curious about with this the survey that we ran is, well, does it actually prove out? Right. So that's what we wanted to know. At Productside, if we saw, for example, certification didn't yield career benefits or skill benefits, then it wouldn't be worth it. And that would be okay. That would be a good learning for us to then say, we're not going to provide something that's not valuable to our audience. But we learned something different. We learned that certified professionals do move forward in their careers, and it looks like at a faster pace than those that are uncertified. So I want to start with the first data point that we have. And that is that, and it's the one that we feature, is that 31% of certified professionals got promoted within the last 12 years. And that's compared with 17% who were not certified. That's almost double. So why do you think there's such a dramatic difference?
There's going to be a dramatic difference because the people that put in the time, the effort, saw the value that this is important for their personal growth and professional growth and money, right? Your compensation. They're driven. There's a drive to do this. They want to succeed. They want to improve. So the certification is just one piece of that person's drive and effort and dedication. I'm not saying someone who's not certified doesn't have that. I'm just looking at it from the validation and accomplishment to do that.
Yeah.
So it says a few things. It says about the individual that this is important to them. They want to grow. They want something that shows that they put in this time and effort and met the standards to receive that certification. So if they're doing that, that to me tells me these are very driven professionals. So I can only imagine that they're putting that same type of drive into their day-to-day work.
We saw this also, Cynthia, when we did the benchmark report. We do that one every year. And we take a look at the promotion path there too. So this isn't necessarily they've gotten certified, but they did some training. And we would find over and over again that professionals who were, let's say, director level that were trained, and even manager level that were trained, uh, sometimes exceeded, so the director level always exceeded the level of directors who were not trained. But sometimes managers, so one step below, somebody who might be managing other product managers but may not have the director title, almost always also exceeded the untrained director. And it's calls in my mind to the point that it's not about the training. It's probably that people who are driven, like you were saying, are self-selecting into making sure that they are operating at the top of their game. So the certification path probably does have this bias of people who are going to be natural leaders, who want to show, okay, want to make sure that they're learning everything possible out there to bring back into their companies. And I've also seen that when I interview, because I like to talk to people who've gone through our training or a certification. And I also see that at the director level, especially anybody that's been recently promoted, they've always brought back what they learned back into their company. So I think that also is what sets them apart, is not just the learning, but also bringing it back to other people.
Absolutely. The sharing of the knowledge, that is important. Plus, when you share knowledge, one, it really cements your own learning previously. So that is just a nice refresher. And you're going to use what you've learned and what you're applying on a day-to-day. That's the effort. And it's very valuable because then if you share it with people at your job, you have a conversation. Is this right? How can we make this better? It's a collaboration. So that is really, really great point, is bringing it back, applying it, sharing it, and just making iterations as well.
Yeah, people notice when you do that. So leadership takes notice of this person actually put in this extra initiative. And so I think that also probably encourages this promotion. Okay. So there's another data point here that I thought was really curious. And that is that 30% of women who responded said that they saw an increase in salary after getting certified. And only about, about 17% of men saw the same. So it's quite a big jump when we compare women and men. What do you think maybe caused some of these differences?
I have my opinions and thoughts on it, but it's probably going to be wrong. Honestly, I would love to talk to those 30% women and understand their story, because I can guarantee that every single one of them had a different path to achieve that promotion and that wage increase.
So we often hear, though, that women don't always ask for a raise. And that could be one reason why more women, after they get certified, maybe have that feeling of like, I deserve a raise. Like I definitely can prove that through a credential. And that could be some of what is motivating this. So let's say you're a product manager earlier in your career and you're, woman, man, I don't care, but you haven't asked for a raise yet. Is there a good way for somebody to approach their supervisor and request a raise?
Oh, that's a good question. There's a lot of ways to approach regarding asking for a raise, right? I would encourage whomever is thinking of doing this is make a list of your accomplishments. sit down, even every month, sit down and write your accomplishments, write what you solved for, and look at, just do your online research. What is the rate? What is the salary, right? Where is my company at? Is it publicly traded? Is it private? Do you know if you've met achievements, right? If you've met revenue? Why? Because if you haven't, that makes it tough to ask, right? So I would go about doing that, writing that down. It's always good to meet with someone if you are nervous and figuring out, hey, can I talk to you like I would my supervisor and asking for a raise? Do that. And I'm saying that because everyone goes about it differently. Every supervisor also receives this information differently. So even the timing is important. Are they stressed? Did you schedule a meeting and you see them that they're upset or they're preoccupied with another deadline? Probably not the best time to have the conversation. You got to be strategic about it, right? Because this is what you're asking for. You're asking for something that you value, you want to be taken seriously, and you don't want to hear no right away. So if that's how I would say approach it. This is where soft skills comes in, right? How are you in communication with your supervisor? Do they have the authority to grant a wage increase? If they're not, what is the path for a wage increase? Do you know your path on how to get an increase? Because then it's like, okay, do I need to talk to this person? Do I need to talk to that person? Do I need to give them something in writing instead of just talking about it? And yes, I would recommend following up in writing because it's documented. It's important for them to see like you're serious. Like, hey, this is my value, and I'm just following up based on our meeting.
So, in your experience, Cynthia, have you ever seen, let's say, like a person ask for a raise in an inappropriate way? Maybe there are some tips of what to avoid.
What to avoid is saying the cost of living increases have gone up. I need you to match this. We're in a time where inflation is high. Hey, inflation has gone up. Where's my increase? So I would look at it not from the economics. So looking at it from the environment of the economics, don't look at it from that way. Look at it from coming from what you do, what you've accomplished, and the value you bring, and that you have brought and will continue to bring.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of supervisors where they sometimes make the wrong decision of not having the conversation also proactively. And that puts a lot of their great people on the market, job market, and it costs so much more sometimes to go and find a new person than to retain great people who might just need a little bit more. But
Well, and the important thing is to ask yourself where you work, is this a champion for my growth?
mm.
Are they in my corner pushing my development or agreeing with my professional development? Are they wanting me to succeed and progress? If the answer is no, I would really say it's time to revisit if that's the place for you or that supervisor, right? Maybe there's an opportunity for a transfer. Maybe there's opportunity elsewhere. The path forward for success, you have to have that champion who is really your cheerleader.
Yeah, and I think supervisors need to be proactive with their conversations as well. All right, so I want to go into another data point here. Per the certification outcomes report, we did find that there was quite a big difference between instructor-led outcomes and self-study outcomes. Now, that quite big difference really was again tied to promotions. We did see very similar raises occur for both populations, and also from a survey standpoint, we did have more people fill out that they took a self-study with us versus an instructor-led course. But we saw 43% of grads promoted in less than 18 months versus 26% of grads promoted in less than 18 months in the self-study. So instructor-led versus self-study, benefits of both, is one better? What do you think?
I mean, I think, yeah, is one better? What's your learning style, right? What is your time availability? Personally, I prefer in person or where there is a live discussion, a live session for collaboration. You're going to hear other people ask certain questions. That's how you learn also. You're going to hear stories from other people. You're going to hear problems and how someone solved for it. So there is learning just outside of the content because you're bringing in people and the collaboration. And then the instructor can identify, oh, there's this is a conversation and a question. Let me spend some time and answer this. So there is so much value in the live sessions and in person. Self-study, you're alone on your ship. I mean, congratulations. You are learning. Where's your conversation with other like-minded professional people that are wanting to do the same thing? So that's how I look at it. There's also an interactive, there's different learning modalities, and the live in person or the live sessions hit more of those modalities than the self-study.
Yeah. When looking at data for self-study completions, when we just look at the general online courses, and we're talking even like the Coursera's of the world, completion rates are around 5%. At Productside, I know we hover between 30 and 40%. I think part of that is also the benefit of the certification exam, where people are actually motivated to complete the course and the study, so that they can also show that they have studied the material and gotten certified. But certainly the knowledge transfer on instructor led, it's so much higher. And even in our public offering, it's somewhat custom because you get to ask the questions as you're talking about. You get a peer group that's different every time, but you also have an instructor, and you get to ask questions and you get to solve your problems in real time as well. So it is a very different experience. I heard you also talk about Tony Robbins. So for those of our listeners who, let's say they want to take a course, a full course, but they can't right now for whatever reason, it could be financial, it could be time. What can they do just today or tomorrow to set themselves up for a better 2025?
Oh, well, there's a lot of things you can do. There's a lot of things. So I'm going to focus on the learning piece, right, for 2025. As you sit right now, first of all, Godspeed. The holidays are in session. I don't know when this is going to record, but when it's going to post, but there's a lot of personal demands during this time. Number one, plot out when you're going to take care of yourself. When you have that time and are putting some time for nothing, it's your time. That's when you want to think about, what does 2025 look like? What do I want to focus on? What are my learning objectives? They can be fun, right? How do you make a self-study course for yourself fun? Do you get to go to the coffee shop and listen to a unit? Do you get to go to a library where it is quiet and you don't have family or friends or maybe colleagues bothering you? What does that look like? What does it feel? How can you make it fun, right? So the learning, look at books. What books do you want to learn or read? Listen to audiobooks. So many people say, okay, January 1, I'm going to get in the gym. You don't have to start January 1 to go to the gym. You can start that tomorrow. You're learning, you can start that tomorrow. You can pick up an article today online and start reading. Is developing the muscle and the commitment that you're giving to yourself to invest in this. So how do you go about it? First of all, find yourself some time. sit in the quiet. A lot of us don't like to sit in quiet because we're used to the dopamine hits of social media and 30-second videos on TikTok or whichever platform you prefer. Just sit down in quiet, be reflective, be open to the thoughts or lack of thoughts, and really think about where you want to be in 2025. Where do you want to go in 2026? What is that path forward from what you know right now? You don't have to know everything, but from what you know right now, and then take the first step. Did it work? Did it not work? What else is on the list? And by the way, if there's something on the list that you keep avoiding, the answer is it's probably not supposed to be on the list.
Wow. I would have said the opposite. I would have said if there's something on the list that you keep avoiding, that's the thing to do first.
Why do you keep avoiding it? If you're not being pulled and drawn to it with some excitement or sense of accomplishment and desire,
Hmm.
you can ask yourself, is that someone else's value or learning objective or goal? Is this programming from my childhood, right? Which one is it? It could be.
Interesting. I sometimes find that there's a lot of these big tasks that I have to do. I'm sure product managers have to do that. Sometimes they feel so big that it's that whole like, how do you take that first bite versus it's not pulling you. It's more about maybe overwhelming you.
Oh yeah, that happens. I'm gonna reference it to house cleaning.
Yes. Okay. It's like that.
I gotta clean the house. That's how many rooms are in the house. How about you just focus on one and then go from there? So yes, there's big projects, right? How do you dissect it? How do you chunk it? And dissecting it, group things, maybe in a group of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, you've made progress. It's not done, but you've made progress. And you go from there.
But I also like this idea around maybe it's just not in your wheelhouse, it's not your strength. And I think too many of us, when we take a look at our strengths and weaknesses, we focus so much on the weaknesses instead of what is truly strong about us. And if we could do more of our strengths and less of the things that we are trying to avoid, surround ourselves with people who that is a strength for them, you do get more done. So I do like that. Do you have a piece of advice for somebody? Let's talk to our product manager audience. What advice do you want to give them around building a mentorship program or getting the personal board of directors? Like, how can people get started in that field? Because I see that come up all the time around professional development. It's important to have people who maybe are further along in their career, or even some of your peers that you can really turn to for some of the challenging moments.
What do I have to say about that? How do you go about it? Who is in your professional network group that you have respect for and admiration on their achievements? Ask if you could interview them. Ask them about how they achieved this, how they got there. Ask more than one person. Everyone has a different path and a story on how they navigated to where they're at today. So that's one for mentorship. I call it PBOD, personal board of directors, right? Your personal board of directors, this is a good way to look at it. If you have a company and you have a board of directors, you have people that are experts in different areas of business and have achieved some level of success. Your personal board of directors, you decide what is important to you, like you said, those weaknesses, and it's okay. We all have weaknesses. Maybe a friend is a financial advisor. You're not great at planning your retirement. Maybe it's someone who is a director or a VP in something you want to achieve, right? Get people that have strengths and invite them and just say, hey, I want to create a personal board of directors that we meet monthly, and we're checking in and learning and providing issues that we have, personal, professional, what we say is confidential, and see where you're at. It takes time to develop it. You're going to have people that say they want to join and they don't. And then they have people that do join but aren't fully there. So it is tough to find people that are committed and accountable. So that's what you're looking for, is the commitment and accountability on your group of people to have those discussions for your growth.
It is some of the most valuable investment of your time, is to find the right people and make sure that they're in your corner. I love at the start of our conversation, you said you found some of the people at our company. They don't all have to come from the same company. You can find great people in your corner in other places. Well, Cynthia, this has been a wonderful conversation. I always love spending time with you. Thank you so much for joining me today. How can people find you after they listen to this recording?
They can find me on LinkedIn via my first and last name, Cynthia Petti, and that's how they will find me.
Great. Well, thanks so much, Cynthia. And for all of you who are listening, this episode should launch right in the middle of our Black Friday sale. So if you are interested in getting certified, this is the best time to take a look at our courses, as our prices have never been lower this year. Thanks so much for joining us. I hope today's insights inspire you and propel your product journey forward. Remember, every challenge is a lesson waiting to be learned. Visit us at productside.com for more free resources, including webinars, templates, playbooks, and other product repackaged for you. I'm Rina Alexin, and until next time, keep innovating, keep leading, and keep creating stories worth sharing.